Hello everybody and welcome to Cat's Monthly Movie Reviews. I'm Cat, I'm here with QJ. I've watched
QJ's
a whole bunch of
here.
movies this month.
QJ's here across the pond from Cat, and we're talking about movies. It's
Is
February.
that like your theme song now?
It's almost March. The Oscars
Yeah?
are almost here,
Oh my,
and they're
that's
important,
hype.
and they're valid, and none of them are stupid.
La La Land's the best movie ever, QJ. What are you talking about? How dare you ever say the best movie?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna see most of my Oscar nomination movies in the next couple days. So everybody, just so you know, we're gonna make an Oscar reaction video, so we can either be like, this movie totally deserves its award, and the Oscars are like amazing and good at being awarded, or like, this movie sucks, it doesn't deserve the award. All the people who vote are stupid. So yeah, you should watch that because it sounds sophisticated, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be a lot of me complaining about La La Land getting nominations and awards. A lot of me, I reckon if Suicide Squad doesn't get the Oscar for best hair and makeup, I'm gonna be a bit annoyed, not gonna lie. Because that film is obviously the best film of the year, right?
Well, for hair and makeup, I mean, sure. I mean, Jared Leto wore braces. What else did hair and makeup?
Doctor Strange did hair and makeup quite well, but that didn't get a nomination.
Well, that would be more for CGI effects, although
I mean,
Cumberbatch's hair
the
deserves all the awards.
The villain had like all the stuff around his eyes. That was pretty cool, but that's apparently doesn't count.
But we'll talk about that all next video.
Anyway, yeah.
This video is about all the movies that you watched this month, or at least the ones that are worth talking about.
Actually, it's all of them.
All of them?
I'm just gonna. Well, some of them I probably won't talk about in great amounts of detail. Like this first one. Oh, actually, before I start, QJ wrote a bingo chart that I'm going to try and fill out each year with a bunch of things, qualifiers for movies. It'll be on screen right now with a bunch of crosses over the ones that I did this month. I think I did. Wow, I got 5 crosses this month. I want to say.
Oh, wait, did you get bingo?
Yeah. No, I didn't. It's annoying. I got 3 in a line though on the right though. Nice. That's pretty great. The first one I got was by a female writer or director.
Cool. Which you just found out like 5 seconds ago that it applied.
Which I googled before we started recording, because that's how this show, we're so prepared on this show. But it's 50 Shades of Grey, QJ.
50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades Darker?
50 Shades of Grey. I begin with 50 Shades of Grey because I needed to see if this series was worth getting into. Spoilers, it's not.
Now, when you say writer, do you mean they wrote the screenplay or just that they wrote the book?
They wrote the screenplay. Okay. It was... Yeah, I checked that. So it's pretty terrible. It's not a good film. It's real clunky. The dialogue, I think the most enjoyable part of 50 Shades of Grey is the fact that the dialogue is mostly unintentionally hilarious. Like, it's just so awkward that it's funny.
It sounds
like you're just sitting there like, what?
It just sounds like really porny Twilight. Like really.
I mean, it is a Twilight fan fiction, so yes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yep.
Like it just sounds like people being all like sexy and romantic, and then like, oh right, I don't know how to act, and I'm being all emotional and like, oh my gosh, I'm so hot.
Yep.
I have something in my throat. Anyway,
it is pretty much that, because you can really tell because Anastasia feels exactly like the Bella character. She's just the most cliched, generic, kind of, I am a normal girl kind of character, and then who's going to be whisked away by a...
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then Christian Grey is like an actual robot. He just goes beep boop, I am Christian Grey, and he doesn't feel like a human being at all. And I kind of get that like the point of the character is that he's cold and emotionless because of his dark past.
Like a vampire?
But the film never actually... Oh yeah, like a vampire. The film never actually shows his dark past or says anything really about it. It kind of hints towards it.
Well, yeah, because like, no one wants to hear about anyone's actual emotional problems. They just want to know, ooh, that guy's sexy because he's dark and he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's dark and edgy, but like, he's really just...
Oh wait, you actually have problems that I have to hear about? Oh, that's not sexy.
It's a bad movie, and I don't even feel the need to actually talk about it much because it doesn't deserve it. It doesn't deserve our time.
Is it at least worth being porn?
I've seen better porn.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, they had to put it in a movie theater, so they probably couldn't.
Yeah.
Make it that juicy.
They don't show any man parts. They just show loads of boobs.
Who needs those?
It's disappointing. Like, come on, give me both. I'm not like what. I want both. So yeah, I went from a I went from a film that does romance really terribly, to a film that does romance incredibly well, that I
Ooh.
think you've also seen. It's the tale of someone who constantly tries to gain the affections of their suitor, but is rejected, and finally finds that they're meant to be together in the end. It's the Lego Batman movie.
Oh. That was
So,
good. I
you-
don't know. I thought you were gonna it sounded like Pride and Prejudice there for a second. And I was like, that sounds almost right. Wait, but no, that
You've
doesn't
seen
happen.
the Lego Batman movie,
They're all
right?
platonic at the end. No, that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, no, because Joker though.
Oh, right. The joke. Yeah, they love
It's
each
a love
other.
plot. It's
It's
a
so
love
cute.
plot, but they've just reversed the dialogue. That's all they did. It's amazing. I
movie,
love it. And
That was great. It was
the whole
really
thing is just
well made.
It's so good.
It had the same like
Like
style and like guts behind it that the first Lego movie did. It wasn't as good as the first
Yep.
Lego movie, but it was
I
definitely
think it was better, but
I mean,
I can go into detail of
Yeah.
why I think it was better.
I don't know, it was definitely better than any Batman movie I've seen or heard of.
Yeah, it's the best Batman movie of all time. People can say The Dark Knight's better, but they're wrong. Fact. Wrong.
Wrong.
But yeah, it's just it's so good. All of the it's this perfect mix between like accessible comedy that anyone can get, like kids can get it. If you don't know anything about Batman and his history, you can get it. But at the same time, there's all these like really subtle jabs at the history of Batman and like previous films. My favorite one personally was the moment where, actually, before I say this, this isn't much of a spoiler, but I want to just say we're probably going to spoil this film. There'll be a timestamp on screen. Go to that timestamp if you. And I'm serious, this film is something you don't want spoiled for you because it has
It's wonderful.
the best. Just don't spoil it for yourself. Skip ahead and come back when you've watched it because it's so good. Yeah, my favorite joke I think was the one that I don't think a lot of the people in the cinema realized was a joke. But there's a scene near the start where all of the villains are kind of taking Gotham basically, and they're putting a bomb underwater, and Killer Croc swims to do it,
And he's like,
and
I
then just
did
looks
something.
at the camera and goes, "I did something useful," and it's like, oh,
It was
oh,
beautiful.
that's a Suicide Squad dig. That is. And it killed me. And then every time Bane spoke, the fact that it like they retained the dumb Tom Hardy like Batman, my name's Bane, like that voice. It slayed me every time.
Poor
It made
Bane.
me
He was just so Joker was so mean to
like-
him. The whole time it's just like,
I
shut
know,
up,
it's-
Bane.
it got me. It got me so many times. Like there are so many really clever jokes. Like the early scene where Joker is like talking to that guy on the plane, and he's like, "I'm gonna get Gotham this time," and he's just like, "What? You've never done it before?" And Joker's just like, "What about that time with the 2 boats?" And it's like obviously a dig at the Dark Knight. I love that. It just
That was great.
it's this really subtle like meta like comedy that really got to
Yeah.
me. And then all of the other jokes were just hilarious. I love how it starts like from the get go. You know it's gonna be hilarious because like of the whole Batman talking over the logos thing.
Yeah.
Like that just
And he has
because
his, like,
that was
dumb
so
little theme
unexpected,
song.
and it just oh
And I like
It's
the
so
chances
good.
they took with the animation, like when they were going through Batman's past, and then they just had a scene from like one of the live action TV shows, or was that a
Yeah.
movie? I don't know. They're like, that's the period we just
it's
don't
the
talk
Adam
about.
West one. I think it's the TV show. I want to say because it's Adam West's like ridiculous campy one. Yeah, I love how because it's like all of the other ones were like recreated in Lego, and then it just shows like Adam West's Batman. He's just like, it's just hilarious. And then like the fact that he was watching real people on his home cinema,
Yeah,
which is a bit weird.
Jerry Maguire.
Because that raises questions about where the Lego universe stands. If Batman can watch live action movies within the Lego universe,
Yeah, this
the
didn't
lore
have
gets
as much
really
of
deep
the
and complicated.
meta, like, because the first one, like, they were all little live characters in Will
Yeah.
Ferrell's basement.
Well, my
So it's
theory
like,
is that this is still taking place in Will Ferrell's basement. I reckon that this is a direct follow up to the Lego movie because at the end of the Lego movie, the dad lets his kid play with the Lego, right?
Yeah.
So I
So-
reckon this entire thing is the kid making his own story.
And making jokes
'Cause
about all
there's
the
a-
Batman movies that his dad
Yeah.
has made him watch.
Yeah.
And that makes it
Yeah,
almost
and, like-
even less fourth wall breaking because it's not like
Yeah.
the characters are talking to us about the movies and making references. It's the character controlling
Yeah.
the little Legos. Man,
Yeah, and
this movie's so complicated.
but because they suggest that like Gotham is over this really big hole, and that implies that it's
Putting
like
two
it's on
tables
an
together.
unsturdy table to the side, yeah. And the fact that they can get, I don't know, Voldemort and Sauron, like because the dad wouldn't
Oh,
previously
yeah.
the dad wouldn't have let sets combine like that, but the kid's like, wouldn't it be cool? And dad's like, yeah, let's do it. And it because I can totally imagine that being part of the lore. Like it makes sense to me that it would exist within the same universe as the Lego, because that they don't reference the
Mhm.
events of the Lego
And then
movie,
you
but it
had like,
feels like it just feels,
well, and I love
feels
that
like
they
it
had
feels right.
stupid characters like the ketchup and mustard villain. It's like that seems like something that
Yes.
the Lego industry would try and sell. Be like, here's just a guy with your little hot dog Lego set, and he's like, no, I'm gonna make him a Batman villain.
Well, Condiment King is
Condiment.
a Batman villain,
Is
though.
he okay? I wasn't sure. I knew
Yeah.
Calendar Man was.
Yeah, no, Condiment King's real.
Oh my goodness.
He exists in the comics. Batman is dead serious, everyone. Don't make jokes about Batman.
No.
He's a real serious guy.
Who always pays their taxes? Not Batman.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
my favorite thing about those is just some of the jokes that make me laugh the most are the little quips that you don't really hear if you're not listening. Because like he
Yeah.
gathers up all the like little villains and they're like, everyone tell us your superpower, and everyone shouts it, and you can hear one guy just going, I'm
Yeah.
irritating.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I love it. It's such a oh man, that movie is so just beautiful. Like
Really well
every
made
joke
comedy.
hits. The plot's great as well. Like you're sitting there thinking, where's this gonna go next? Especially when like all the like when Joker goes into the Phantom Zone and you're just like, who's gonna be there? And then they show like the moment all of like Voldemort and everyone shows up, you're just like, what a twist! What a twist! I love the fact that Ralph Fiennes is in the film,
But he's not
Not
Voldemort.
voicing Voldemort. Like that's just great to me. Like I wonder if he knew that or if he just like came in, did his lines and left. Like I don't know. It's so good. But yeah, I really like the Lego Batman movie. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best films I've seen all year.
Yeah.
I absolutely
It was
love
really
it.
well
If
done.
you
It's
haven't
much
seen
more
it,
than just a children's
yeah,
movie. I just want to
yeah, like
poke in real quick and like say that the way I've been reading the second Game of Thrones book still, and I
mhm.
had to go back like 200 pages just to like recap on what's going on because I'm still so confused all the time and always just like I
Yeah,
can't remember who that is or what that battle was or who that guy's grandfather was and there's so much politics in it that I don't understand, but I still really enjoy
yeah,
reading it. I like what I do understand, and I feel like I am understanding it at a not too basic of a level, but enough that I'm like getting it, but probably not getting it as well as someone much smarter than me would. And I
right,
realized I think that's the way that young children watch a lot of really well made cartoons.
right,
Yeah, like they get it enough and they enjoy it, but
yeah.
probably not as much as certain adults would enjoy it and be like,
Okay,
oh,
yeah, that makes sense.
that's interesting because,
Yeah,
I'm older and wiser and more intelligent in certain
yeah.
ways. So, yeah, that was interesting. I'm like a little kid reading Game of Thrones, but not like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good way of seeing it because I think that definitely, especially with the Lego Batman movie, there are definitely jokes that a lot of kids won't like. The bat shark repellent, it's a meme, but like the kids watching it, they're not gonna know. Like
Is it a meme?
they're not
See,
gonna
I
know
didn't
what that
even
is.
get that joke.
Oh, the fact that Adam West's Batman used to have bat shark repellent,
Oh,
is like it's one of the things that kind of everyone knows about that series, and it's kind of like a lol. They had shark repellent, like that was like a joke that people used to for a while just use to like goof about that old series, you know. So it's kind of one of those things where it's in the public consciousness. I don't know if it's a meme, but like that sort of thing where
yeah,
everyone's kind of aware of it as a
sure.
goof sort of thing. So then after a good movie, I jumped back into the 50 Shades series after swearing that I wouldn't because 50 Shades Darker is in the cinemas. And guess what? 50 Shades Darker is better than the first one.
It's better.
Surprisingly enough, it is better. Like it's legitimately actually a somewhat. It's not a good film, right? It's not in any
Didn't
way,
it
shape,
still
or
have like
form a good
awful
film.
reviews? Like
Yeah, I mean it
unbelievably
would because
bad.
it's again not a good film, but it's not as awful as the first, and I'm going to explain why. And because I want to when I come out of a really bad film, if it's not like the worst thing ever, I want to at least give it some praise because I think everyone knows Fifty Shades Darker not a good film, right? Everyone's
Hmm.
aware of that, but I want to say what it does well, right? And the things it does well is it actually makes Christian Grey feel like a real character. Um, he almost has a good arc throughout it. There's a really good moment of emotional vulnerability that he has in a scene that actually works. Like, it's genuinely powerful, and it genuinely is like, oh, this is why he's like this. This
That's
is
what I've
why he's
heard
like
about
all...
the series.
Yeah.
Like pretty much everyone I know, which is mostly older
Hmm.
women who have read those books, when everyone's like, "Oh, it's just porn," and they're like, "No, it's so much more than
Yeah.
that because it has a real story and it has a real character development and blah blah blah." And I'm like, you know what? So does a lot of porn. So whatever. I'm just like, um, but yeah, they say that like the author actually makes an attempt to make them kind of real
Yeah.
and like have some sort of redemption at the end. So yeah,
Yeah, like, because there is a real... Anyone who's seen it will know. Actually, do you care about spoilers? I feel like you don't. No
I
one cares
don't
about spoilers,
know.
right? If for some
Spoiler:
bizarre
they
reason
have
you care about
sex.
Fifty Shades Darker, spoilers, do click. There's a thing on screen. It doesn't matter, but you're sure. Basically, there's a scene where you find out that Christian Grey does what he does. He finds women and he forces them to submit to him, and he controls their lives, and like he inflicts pain on them. Not because he's into it sexually. Well, he is, but like not because he's just into it sexually. He does it because his original mother was a crackhead and he was abused as a kid before she died and he got
Hmm.
adopted. And he finds women who look like her, and that's why he does it. That's why he's so... Because in the first movie, it's really weird that he's so like obsessed with Anastasia, because they never explain it in the first movie. You're just constantly like, why do you care this much about this one random girl? Why are you like so obsessed? I mean, because it's a fanfic of Twilight, obviously, but like,
Yeah,
then in the second one, you actually kind of see why he's going for her specifically, and you're like, oh,
that
that
sounds like a
makes
plot point
sense.
that the author probably made up after the fact. She's like, I should probably give
Oh
this some
yeah,
sort of real story.
probably.
The funny thing
But
about
yeah,
that is that idea is absolutely
yeah.
present in reality with
Mm,
people who are abused as children, whether sexually or not, and they grow
mhm.
up and do the same thing to people, and they will,
Yeah,
you know, take women as victims, whether it's abusive relationships or human trafficking, and like make them submit
yeah,
to them and just do whatever they want because they were so messed up as children. And I'm sure that
yeah.
that important story is not getting across to the audience. I would hope it might, but I'm sure that's not the point of the film, even though it could be.
It kind of is, and it does kind of work well. It's not,
Okay.
again, it's not perfect. It's not a good film,
Well,
but
I
there is
appreciate that
one
at the
scene.
very least.
Yeah, there is one scene where it does come across quite well, and it is actually quite well done. Like, I will give that scene like what it deserves. I will tell you that scene and that point in the film works really well. But then there's like the plot trails off weirdly after that, and like he goes in a helicopter and has a crash, and it's really weird. Like the helicopter crash scene comes out of nowhere. It's so out of left field that I was like, is this a dream sequence right now? Because it's like, what? But no, it's better than the first one. It's not a good film. I wouldn't say it's worth sitting through the first one to watch it. I wouldn't say it's worth watching at all, but I don't know. I don't even know why I bothered. Oh yeah, because the bingo chart, QJ. You know how you put
Yeah.
based on a book in the bingo chart, right?
Yes.
50 Shades Darker is based on a book. I feel like you wanted me to do a book that was more like, not 50 Shades Darker, but it
Maybe not a
counts,
fan
so I'm counting
fiction.
it.
Oh, I guess it counts.
Still a book. It still counts.
And the first one counts for a square too. Man, you are a little sneaky snook.
Yeah. I weaseled that one, didn't
You
I?
did.
So then I went on and I watched both. I'm going to talk about two films in one right here because I watched them like in the same day, like an hour apart. And I watched John Wick and John Wick 2, which are both great. Like
Yeah.
they're both action films, starring Keanu Reeves, where
I
he
don't know
just
anything about those films. I don't know if I've
he
even heard of
kills a
them.
lot of people.
Oh, blah.
It's really well shot. It's really well made. It's basically the plotline of the first one is an ex mob enforcer, John Wick, he's in retirement and his dog gets killed and he just goes on a vengeance spree against the people who killed his dog. There's a bit
Pretty
more
funny.
depth to it, like because there's a bit more depth to it because it's like it's the dog that his wife gave him after she died, but it's still like it's just because of his dog, and he just he blows up and he just kills like hundreds of people on this like
Whoa.
rampage against like the mobs, and like it's so good. But like it's such a silly premise, but it works. The action is incredibly well shot, and that goes across to the second one even more. I think what happened is because I watched the first one at home on my computer, and then I went to the cinema to see the second one. So the second one, I don't think is like any better shot or like better made, but it feels a lot more like visceral and punchy, or at least it felt like that to me. And I think it was because I saw it in the cinema. I think it's because the action when you've got like big
Yeah.
surround speakers and like
That's why some
you
people
can really
love the cinema
appreciate this.
experience.
Yeah.
What was
It
the second
definitely
one
highlighted
about?
the
That
need
doesn't
for it.
sound like something you could make 2 movies about.
Oh, he's come back in and taken out spoilers. He takes out the mob at the end. I feel like that's not really a spoiler because it's an action film where a guy tries to take out the mob. But when he's done everything he did in the first one, there's a guy who he owes a debt to who's like, John Wick's back in the game. I'm gonna take advantage of this, and like that pulls him back in to do a second plot that's kind of unrelated but still pretty cool. There are some really, really, really cool moments of action in the second one, like the opening scene. Like there's like a couple of just moments that are beautiful. Like there's a point where he's just like slamming people's heads against car doors and stuff, and it's like so visceral and
It
like
sounds
raw.
like really lame,
Like,
but also really silly. Like enough to be funny.
yeah, like at times it almost does feel like a parody. Like the first film
Yeah,
is
like it
incredibly
kind of
good in
sounds
its
like
build-up.
Deadpool a little bit, at least the action scenes.
The action scenes are, yeah, I can see that they're shot kind of similarly in the way they're kind of punchy and but the whole everything's played straight, which makes it kind of fun as well because you're just like, this is a silly premise, but the way they're playing it is like really works. And like there's a scene in the second one where like the entire city's every hitman and assassin and like dirty dealer in the city has been turned on John. And he's like walking through the city and just random people keep attacking him. And it's like it's just funny to watch because it's like they're all kind of different. And there's a scene where him and like another guy like walking down the street in a crowd and they're trying to like quietly like take pot shots at each other, and it's just really fun to watch. But like, yeah, it's an enjoyable film. I'd say if as of this coming out, it might be still in cinemas. If you can see the second one in cinemas, I would recommend it because otherwise you will probably it loses a lot of effect when you don't. So if you are going to go see it, definitely see it in cinemas. The action is on point, and that's why you go and see a film like this, and it's good. I enjoyed it. I had fun. So then I went to see a movie that I think you should have seen because it's like a national pride thing for the American people, QJ.
Oh?
It's a film that shows
I don't have any
the
national
origins
pride.
of the origins of one of America's just truest and most core spiritual fundamental elements, the
Hot
things
dogs?
that hold America together. It's a film called The Founder, and it's about the founder of McDonald's.
I was close with hot dogs.
You were close with hot dogs. I'm proud of you. Like,
They're making a movie about Walmart soon.
are they? Wow, that
Yeah.
sounds really exciting.
Actually, I think it's just
How are
about
they
a
making a movie
receipt.
about Walmart?
They said it's a movie based on a Walmart receipt. That's all I know about
Okay. Okay. Cool.
it. I mean,
So anyway, The
there's
Founder.
always a McDonald's
Can I
and
talk about The
Walmart.
Founder?
Maybe it's a sequel. I
Maybe.
don't want to talk about this movie. It sounds dumb.
Wow, rude. I actually quite enjoyed this movie. It's it's the story of Ray Kroc, the guy who found the McDonald's brothers, looked at their restaurant, went, "That's cool. It's mine now," and just like basically slowly takes over and slowly builds McDonald's into what it becomes. And he's like this slimy kind of like arrogant. Well, he starts off kind of like he's kind of a failure and he's kind of struggling, and he finds the McDonald's and he finds that they've got this really cool like immediate fast service thing and it's never been done before, and he's like, I need this to be a thing. And he starts like weaseling his way into their company and slowly steals it from them basically, and ends up like on top through just like being kind of a douche. And it's really interesting to watch because it's like a villain story because you're kind of rooting for him because he's like this greedy little man who like, and he's doing all these things that kind of like they're not morally sound. Like he is being quite slimy, but you're still like, yeah, no, it makes sense that you're doing that. You know, you kind of feel like I don't blame you.
Sure.
I don't blame you for any of the things you're doing. You're doing it
Interesting.
for your own gain, and you're doing it. He's doing it to kind of grasp success because he sees the McDonald's brothers don't want to like they have like such low aspirations and they don't want to like sell out for the sake of like money. They want to keep the high quality of the small thing they've got, and he's like, no, we bring this like big, and he just takes it from them and brings it big for them, and they're just like, "What are you doing? This is ours. This is our thing. You can't take this from." And he's just like, "I can though," and he just like steals the entire thing. And
Wow.
it's really interesting because you can tell that it's kind of like they're hamming it up a bit and they've over dramatized
Sure.
it quite a lot. Like it's
Definitely.
clearly not the exact events, but it's a fun kind of biopic because it's such an interesting story, and you know where it goes.
Oh, I
Like,
put
you
biopic
know.
on the bingo sheet, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Dagnabbit. That was not.
There's another one.
It's not what I wanted you to
But
watch. Was that new?
But yeah,
Is that a new film?
yes, it came out in cinemas recently. It's good. Like I really enjoyed it. I thought it was worth your time. Like it's a good film.
The rest of the bingo chart should not be allowed to be 2017 films.
Rude, but also no, rude because
Yeah.
there's a musical I want to see. A lot of them I can't though. I can't like watch a 2017 Marx Brothers film, can I?
Ooh, if one came out this year, I would totally. Ugh, no, you still have to watch an old one. Yeah.
Anyways,
I just got really excited.
yeah, I think The Founder's great. I think it's a fun watch. It has some slow moments where you're kind of like, but then by the end it's quite satisfying, and it really works on what you know already because you know that McDonald's is going to become this huge thing. So you're like, I know where this is going, and you've got this kind of foreboding like weight on you the whole time where you're just like, no, I know this guy succeeds here. I know where this is going. I know that this slimy, hot-headed little like
You wins.
leech is gonna do it, and
Brings
it's
me
it's
French
so
fries.
interesting to watch.
We had McDonald's a bunch of times when I went to visit you.
We
Like,
did.
no-
Well, that was that one time that it was like a heat wave, and that was the only place in my town with air
Yeah.
conditioning.
And we were like, ice cream, please.
Oh, that was a struggle. But yeah, I was a fan. I enjoyed it. I thought because everyone I've said like, have you heard of The Founder? It's about the McDonald's. Everyone says, oh, that sounds like a lame concept, and I'm like, why? It could be like it's a really interesting story. Why like
Yeah, everyone knows McDonald's
people
is
gotta write
huge,
things
but no
off?
one knows about. No one
Yeah.
knows about like when it started.
yeah.
I
So, yeah,
went
that
to-
was cool. And then have you got
I was
another
just gonna
McDonald's
say,
story, or can I move
kind
on?
of. I went to see Game Grumps live in
Yeah.
Sacramento, and it was a
Mhm.
big crowd. It was like 2,000 people, and at the end they did a Q&A, and like
Mhm.
the first person, like they had Vernon going out and like giving the mic to people, and I didn't see this
Yeah.
person, but it sounded like an 8-year-old. They were like, "All right, first
Right.
question, like let's do good questions. No one ask if we can give you hugs. Let's have questions that are good for everyone." And this kid was just like, "I want to know if you guys like McDonald's."
Aw,
And
that's
it's
adorable.
Just like, what? And I was like, obviously not. Danny doesn't eat fast food, and Aaron loves Wendy's. Everyone knows that. And everyone, it was so funny. He's just like, you guys
That's
like
pretty good.
McDonald's? I'm like, kid, Vernon, what are you doing giving the mic to a kid? Why are
Hey,
they?
he could have had a
Why
good...
are they even there?
Oh, that's pretty
That's my-
funny. I like that.
McDonald's story.
Cool. I wanted to have McDonald's after, like, I watched The Founder at, like, it was like the showing started at midday, and I'd already eaten before I went in, and I left at like 2:30, so it was like an awkward, I'm not hungry yet, but I want a McDonald's. I still haven't had a McDonald's since then.
Oh, I want French
And I
fries.
really want one. Oh, McDonald's chips are so
I'm gonna
good.
have to go get some French fries after. Do you still? I can't remember. Do they still call them chips there? Like,
Yeah, wait, actually, I don't know if they do on the menu.
I think in
Everyone
the
does,
restaurant
kind of.
they call them fries. And it's
Maybe.
kind of like here how we have fish and chips restaurants, and you will like order fish and chips. But
Yeah.
if they're like sitting at the table, I'd be like, "Can I have one of your fries?"
Calling like proper chip shop chips fries, that's disgusting, and you should be ashamed.
That's okay.
Anyway, can I move on from McDonald's? Because I'm getting real
Yeah,
hungry just
yeah,
having
let's
this
move on so we can
conversation,
go have
and
lunch.
like I need to move on. So then I watched. It was a movie suggested by our commenter Denise, also known as ITAFTRS, which eventually I'll get that. I won't stumble over that eventually, but whatever. But she suggested Adventures of Picasso, a really weird movie. It's it's interesting because in the comments she said like, oh, you don't really need the dialogue because it's mostly gibberish, and I was trying to find a subbed version, but I couldn't find a sub version anywhere, and I kept seeing people online in the descriptions of the DVDs that I was looking up, and they were saying like, oh, well, there's no subtrack on this DVD, so so it's fine though because you don't need to understand a lot of the language because it is just like various different languages and it's all absurdist, so whatever, you don't need it. Like you should be able to understand it if you don't speak Swedish. And to an extent that was true, but it also has a lot of Swedish, or I assume Swedish because it's a Swedish film, but I assume it has a lot of narration that I assume gives you context for some of the plot, because at times I was like, what? I don't know where this is happening right now. So like there were times where I was very confused watching this film, but there were also times where I was laughing quite hard. Like there are some jokes because there's a lot of physical comedy in this film,
nice.
and some of them are just like so on point. Like there's one scene. So QJ, imagine a scene, because films do this a lot, like the traditional scene where someone is leaving by train, right? Their like parents are standing on the platform, and the train is kind of like left to right across the back of the frame, right?
Yeah.
When the person gets on the train to leave, which direction do you assume a train would be going?
Forward. From left to right.
This one goes sideways. It comes out of left field. The entire scene is kind of played like the parents are sad, Picasso is kind of sad because he's leaving, and then the train just kind of starts going backwards in frame, and you're like, that's not how trains work.
Physical really comedy is tough to succeed in too, I feel.
Yeah, it just
like it's hard to do
comes
right.
completely out of left field. And like this, it's full of like these dumb yet really clever and funny kind of physical jokes. There's a solid amount of slapstick that's quite funny. There's one scene where I didn't get the context because I didn't understand what they were saying, but there's a scene where Picasso starts putting a woman's hand, like I think her hands were cold, so he starts making a sandwich with her hands in the middle. But because I didn't get the setup to that, I was just like, what's happening?
Sandwiches.
I'm so confused. Yeah, it made me laugh a lot. I think my experience with it was slightly lowered because I don't understand. Like the only time I understood anything anyone was saying was when every now and then you could tell they were speaking gibberish in like French or Spanish, because like they just say one word over and over again, and you'd be like, okay, you're not actually speaking these languages. You're just talking really simple phrases so that everyone can kind of have an idea of what you're saying. And then when they were speaking English and they were talking really basic sentences, and I'd be like, okay, that's definitely what's happening then. But it was funny, it was entertaining, it was completely absurd and like out of left field. It's not the sort of film I was expecting to get suggested to me, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So thank you for that suggestion. Fun. It was pretty great. So then I went back to the cinemas to see. I, by the way, have now seen every single Oscar Best Picture nominated film. Proud of myself.
Good.
So the three I had left are basically, I'm going to talk about 4 more movies, and 3 of them are the ones I had left to watch. The first one I saw was Fences, which I'm not going to spoil much of because I know you are going to go and see it soon.
Right. Well, I've read the play.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Which I really enjoyed.
Plot stuff anyway, but you know, I thought Fences had a lot of really good depth to it. It had a lot of really good emotion. My problem with it, and the reason I think it didn't work as a film, is the fact that every scene apart from like 2, they all take place in one setting, and the entire thing feels very, very static. It starts to feel kind of dull and monotonous just because nothing moves. And I get that it's kind of like a metaphor because the main character's life is stuck in one place, right? And that, I think, is what they were trying to do. But I think on screen, if something's just always the same shot, it starts feeling really boring, and it starts being like kind of hard to connect to. It's because you're kind of just sitting there like, and it feels really dry a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the emotions, the character, the acting is so powerful. Like Denzel Washington and Viola Davis deserve Oscars for those performances.
Nice. That's good.
It's a great, like, there's a lot of powerful acting in it. There's a lot of really good, but it feels like a play. And
sometimes films.
There's a reason I don't go and see plays.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a point where if you're adapting something, you've got to adapt it. You know, if something works in a play, doesn't work in a film, you've got to kind of shift it to that.
Yeah.
And it's something
I've seen some really great
that
movies
happens a lot
that are adapted from plays that are adapted well into films, and yet the dialogue themselves, or the dialogue itself, still feels like a play. But that's what I love, because I love good dialogue, and dialogue in plays are often is often written really, really well. Like
it's very well written. I'll give it that. Like the script is great, and it conveys so much of what it's trying to convey. I don't know. I just don't think it works as a film. It felt very kind of boring. A lot of it. I hate saying that because I know that like I'm gonna come across as like, oh, you just like action films, but like I like it's just hard to watch. Like I didn't. I'm
Sure.
not expecting like high action. I just want a little bit of movement, a little bit of flow to what's happening. I don't like everything in the same set. Like it starts to feel, especially for like the length of that runtime, it starts to
Yeah.
feel kind of like
I would hope at the
it's just
very
going through the
least
motions.
it got people to see the movie that wouldn't have either read or seen the play because it's a really good and really
Yeah.
important play. And
Hmm.
hopefully maybe just the format got across to a few more people and that would be
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. I thought it had its flaws
Sure.
that were quite off-putting to me. So then I went to see another film based on a play. Oh, by the way, I've got the bingo chart for based on a play now.
Oh, nice.
Because Fences.
Yeah, and I don't think I knew Fences was
And
coming out when I wrote that, so I don't even know if I had a movie
yeah,
in mind for it.
yeah. Then I went to see another movie based on a play, a film called Moonlight, which is also Best Picture nominated, which
Mm.
I did not like in the slightest. Moonlight feels very pretentious. It feels very artsy for the sake of being artsy. I don't really understand why people think it's like good, because it basically follows this one character through three periods of his life: his childhood, his teenage years, and then him as an adult. And its main problem is that that character is really underdeveloped, hard to connect to, and just because his entire sort of character and personality is that he's quiet and that he's reserved and that he's kind of insecure, and that's fine. But you have to, when you're writing a character like that, you have to somehow make me able to connect to them.
Yeah,
And
like
just having bad things happen to them every now and then doesn't do it. Like it doesn't work, you know?
when you have a reserved
Um,
character, you need to like let us into their mind.
yeah, and it really didn't. I felt like I didn't see like I didn't see anything he believed in or anything he stood for. I just saw him going about his life, and yeah, his life sucked. But I think when you have just showing someone's life sucking doesn't do anything. It doesn't make me connect to them because I don't like it's not like if I saw that in real life, I'd have human empathy, right? But on screen, there's no. I need a reason to connect. I need a reason to feel
Yeah.
for that character, and
You kind of need a reason
like
to relate to them in order to have empathy
yeah,
for them
yeah.
because otherwise they
And
don't
they
feel
very
real and
easily
you're
could
like, why
have.
should I feel sorry for you?
Yeah, they easily could have made him a relatable character because he's a black gay man, right?
Yeah.
They could have easily like made me connect him, but they never show. They show him being bullied for being gay early on, but that's just kids chasing him and calling him like names. That's like I don't see his. You don't really see his reaction to that. You just see him looking a bit sad. You don't see him like I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of subtlety to it, and if I watched it and really focused hard on trying to pick out exactly what it was, and I rewatched scenes, and I could probably pick out exactly what they're trying to do. But I think it relies far too heavily on subtlety because so many things are just not explained. Like they just gloss over things, and they just assume that you'd
Uh-huh.
know like this or that or whatever, and it's
That's a
that
shame.
it just leaves things far too open and far too empty. And I'm like, okay, but why did this happen? Why is this happening? How is he feeling right now? Can you tell me this? No? Okay, that's fine. Sure. Just don't tell me or show me anything. That's like, whatever. Because there's a point, like, films like Manchester by the Sea or Fences, they do a great job of, like, subtly hinting at things and kind of telling you things through subtext and having things
Yeah.
that you work out without
So this
them
film was like
showing
the
you.
opposite of the series of unfortunate events where Lemony Snicket was telling you everything very directly and wasn't leaving anything to the imagination.
Yeah, he would have been very useful in this film, actually.
They should have had Lemony
Um,
Snicket narrate Moonlight.
because I don't think it's that I'm dense and that I missed the subtlety because I got everything in Fences and everything in Manchester by the Sea. I got all the metaphors, I got all of the kind of subtext and subtlety in both of those films and in others, right? So I'm not sure if it's just me being a dumb idiot, but Moonlight I think just is too subtle. It's just too far down that kind of like we're not going to explain things, we'd work it out for yourself kind of thing. And it's if it was more engaging, if it had an interesting character and I wanted to work things out for myself, maybe I would. But it just doesn't. There's no point where I feel like
Shouldn't be
he
that hard.
yeah, it just I don't know, it just is it's a hard watch because it's so just dull, you know? It feels like a slog.
Yeah.
And I want to like it, I really do, but I just either it went over my head or it's not a good film. Like one of those two things happened. I don't think it went over my head. I think it just did a poor job of setting things up and establishing things. That's what I think it is.
Lame.
It's annoying. I don't like that. I don't like when that happens. It's sad. But whatever. Didn't like a film. Not the end of the world. I then saw an anime.
Cool.
An anime called Princess Mononoke by Studio Ghibli.
You were supposed to tell me if you watched that so I could watch it along with you because I still haven't seen that one.
Hey,
that's one of the few
it was
Miyazaki's I haven't seen.
It was suggested in the comments. I figured you'd know that.
I didn't know we had any commenters yet.
I check our comments on like an almost daily basis because I care.
Nerd.
I care about our viewers because we have so few of them. But yeah, so Princess Mononoke it's a good movie. I think it's probably my favorite Studio Ghibli movie so far. By the way, by the way, what's his face? Miyazaki.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the bingo chart. Got that one done. Booyah.
Nice. Not like either me or your girlfriend are gonna let you stop watching Miyazaki films. So
I know it's depressing. I know you're gonna make me watch Spirit Away now, but whatever.
Princess Mononoke is very highly acclaimed. I've heard it's a lot more serious and deep than
it's dark
and less artsy, I suppose, than his other films. This is just like hearsay. I've only seen pieces of it.
It has some quite. I don't know what you'd mean by artsy, but it has a lot of really interesting deep themes to it. Like there's a deep environmentalist theme to the whole thing, and like protect the forests and all that stuff. Like it has almost Native American inspired feeling to it. I don't know if that was intentional or just, but it's quite like all of the designs there are quite cool. The whole film it's very dark. There's points where like the main character has like a curse on him, and it means that when he shoots people, their whole heads just fly off. Whoa. And like their arms fall off, and it's
that's
like
artsy.
Whoa, that's unexpected for a children's film. Like people say like, oh, they're like Disney for Japan, but I'm like, you don't see that in Disney films.
I wouldn't even call them Disney films, or I wouldn't call them children's films. I think Miyazaki makes films because he's got a really good animation crew, and because his imagination lends well to animation, and then America is like Disney is rich. Let's take these successful films and produce them Disney here. And then everyone's like, Disney, it's for kids. And then it's like, these are not Western films. They are much more than that.
Yeah, no. But I don't know. I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best thing. I enjoyed it more than the other Ghibli films. I think the thing I really appreciated about it was that every sort of subplot came together at the end in a really satisfying way. The whole thing kind of wraps itself up nicely.
Which
the love
doesn't
arc
always
is
happen.
Subtle. It like that was my problem with House Moving Castle, was that at the end I was just like, okay. But it wraps itself up nicely. All of the plots are kind of fun and nice. The comic relief's good. The whole thing is just enjoyable as a little bundle, and it's a fun little movie.
Cool.
So then the final film I saw was the last Best Picture nomination. It's Hell or High Water, which I thought was really good. I don't think it was like amazing. It's an enjoyable movie. It's a like gritty. I think it feels like a western, but it's like a modern day western about two bank robbers who are trying to save
not a spaghetti
their
western.
Land. Yeah, I know, that's sad. It's upsetting, but whatever.
That's a thing on the bingo chart, guys.
Yeah. I feel like it draws a lot on cliches, like they're trying to save their family's land, and there's an old cop who's like about to retire, and it's like a whole but then like it doesn't feel cliched. Like when you think of like, oh, it's quite cliched, you think like, oh, that means it's dull. But this film, like, it takes the cliches and it adds enough interesting new stuff to it that it becomes quite interesting, and it's still fun to watch, you know?
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable ride. I'm not a huge fan of the style of westerns. I don't connect to them that well. Like that whole setting of like Southern America and everyone's got guns and we do frontier justice around here. Like it doesn't click with me that much. The idea of saving your land and like, oh, the bank's trying to take my family's land. Like I'm just like, what? Like it's such a foreign concept to me that sort of film. I don't know, it's hard for me to just like be into them just because of the setting and the genre, I guess.
I don't have any
I feel like how old people must when they look at superhero movies when I look at westerns.
Maybe.
I'm just like, I don't quite get it, you know? Like, I
Sure.
enjoyed the film, but I just don't like the style and the flair of it. Just, I mean, it's cool, but like, it's not like, oh my god, I love this genre. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't click to me as much. I definitely appreciate what it does. It's very well shot. It's very well directed. The acting's great. The tone's cool. The whole thing is, it's just a good film. I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but it's a good film.
Okay.
So
Does its job.
that's my movies for the month. I was thinking of doing at the end of each episode. What I want to do is I want to give a little preview for next month. I want to talk about the movies that are
Ooh.
coming out because I'm not going to preview the movies that are already out because I don't know if I'll end up actually watching them. But the movies I'm definitely going to have watched by next month's episode are Logan, because oh my god, Logan is so hype. So you can expect me to. Did you say I guess?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't care about the X-Men.
Go watch the trailer. Go watch the trailer for Logan, KJ.
I don't
After we're done here,
wanna.
go and watch the trailer for Logan
I don't
because
wanna.
it's so different to any. Okay, so you know how you regularly tell me I like The Dark Knight because it doesn't feel like a comic book movie, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what Logan is. Logan isn't trying to be a comic book. It's trying to be a.
Okay.
It's like a gritty road trip movie. I'm sorry, I need people to see. I want you to have seen Logan so that we can talk.
Do I have to meet any of the other X-Men? Like,
I mean, Charles Xavier's in it, but like,
okay.
I feel like it's gonna be
How is he going on a road trip? He's in a chair.
because he's I don't know.
Is he like?
Because
I'm gonna make an
are
offensive.
you trying to say that
joke.
people in
Let's move
wheelchairs
on.
can't go in cars? What is this, some sort of like ableist? Like, what are you talking about, QJ?
I don't know.
People in wheelchairs can't go on road trips. What are you? That's people are gonna be mad about that. Everyone leave a comment saying that QJ's evil and that if she's good,
Hey, if we
she'll watch
want
Logan.
more attention and viewers, we gotta be controversial. Gotta have people start
Go on,
hating
then.
us.
Say
before
something
they
really
love us.
controversial. Go on then. Put out a blanket statement. I dare you.
I do not like British people.
Shots. Wait, that means you don't like J.K. Rowling.
Her name is J.K. Rowling. Okay, say it right.
Rowling.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's Rowling.
No.
Leave us a comment. That's the controversy today. All right, everyone.
No, she says it's like a rolling pin.
Well, then she's wrong, isn't she? J.K. Wrong. Anyway, so I'm also gonna go see Get Out, which is a film. It's like a psychological horror thriller about a black guy who goes to a town that's weirdly overpopulated with white people, and all the other black people are like creepily like just weird. And the trailer is really exciting, and it's got like perfect scores from critics so far. So I'm like genuinely excited for it. So that's one to look out for in this month. Aside from that, I don't have any guaranteed views. I'm probably gonna see A Cure for Wellness because that looks quite fun. I say fun, but like I mean creepy and like weird. I might go see Patriots Day. I don't know. I'm thinking of seeing 21 Jump Street as well because it's by the writers who wrote the Lego Movie and the Lego Batman movie, and I want more of them in my life.
See, I've seen a little bit of 21 Jump Street. At least I think that's what it was. That's the one with like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just like watched the first 5 minutes of it, and I was like, no, this is stupid. No, dumb.
Fair enough. Well, maybe
certain
I'll
things just
watch
I
it and
can't
tell you if I agree.
I can't bend my suspense of reality. And I'm like, if he hit a street sign that hard riding a truck, he would be dead. He would just bounce up after that. It's not funny.
I
don't know. But maybe you'll enjoy
well,
it.
I'm gonna maybe watch it because I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm also probably gonna try and do a chunk of my bingo chart. I want to try and get some of these older ones done. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna do for like silent film and Marx Bros and stuff like that. But I'll probably start those next month. So if you have any films that you love and you want me to watch, let me know in the comments.
And if you're watching this and you're looking forward to my next episode, which obviously you are, comment some games you want me to play. Maybe I'll be able to finish them in time, and some books you want me to read. Because I have more time to read books right now because my entire life is in boxes, and I'm just working and waiting to move.
To
drive across the country.
I have an anime that I think you should watch.
Well, you put it in the comments.
Anime? Oh, okay. I'll put it in the or I'll tell Georgia to put it in the comments because otherwise you won't listen to it.
That's probably true.
Like you'll just ignore any suggestions that I say. Anyway, so yeah, that's been my monthly movies. If you do let me know. I love getting suggested films. Like I never would have watched Adventures of Picasso without this show and without the suggestions.
Yeah, that sounds funny.
And I had a fun time. Like it had some very good jokes that like just got me. So I just let me know if there's a film you love and you'd like me to give it a shot, then do tell me and I will probably watch it. I mean, I will watch it. Like that's the rules.
That's the rules.
So yeah, I will see you in the middle of the month. No, I won't. I'll see you in the Oscar reactions.
Oscar reactions. Let's get mad.
Where I'm gonna let's get mad about La La Land. I'm convinced that it's gonna win Best Picture, and I'm gonna be really mad because it doesn't deserve it. Because Lion and Hacksaw Ridge are both better than it.
Oh
but,
man, Lion was so good.
Lion is amazing.
I
love Lion.
I mean, you talked about Lion last month, but I just want to say I saw Lion a few days ago, and I can confirm that it's absolutely incredible. And it's a really well told, really important story. I think everyone should see it and be aware of what's going on. So if it's playing around your area, guys, I suggest you all go see it because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to know about.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing that's happening.
It's a good thing to know about.
Actually, it is a good thing. Because adopting those kids is a good thing. But, like, what's happening to them is a bad thing. It's a whole thing, you know?
And just because it's important does not make it boring. And it's not even that depressing because it's, like, kind of redeeming. But it's definitely...
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
Don't say it's not. Everyone I've spoken to who has seen that film cried during it.
Yeah.
Here's a challenge for you, listeners. Go and see Lion and try not to cry. Let us know if you managed it in the comments, because you won't, trust me.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll see you next time.
Definitely recommend seeing Lion. It's great. Yeah, I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.